Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session on Gift City, where there are new developments happening almost on a weekly basis. And I can think of no better person to explain what is happening than Mayuresh Kini, co-founder of Zinc. I think he makes almost a bi-weekly trip to Gift City and regularly interacts with the people there. So I will not take too much of your time in introduction. I will hand it straight over to Mayuresh.
Glad to be here today morning and talk about Gift City. Gift City is truly one of the most amazing places. I don't know whether to say it's actually in India or outside India. It's debatable. So we will talk more about that. With that, I'll just jump straight into today's presentation. Team, can we have the slideshow up, please? Yeah, thanks. So it's actually called the Gujarat International Finance Tech City, right? And That's an actual photo from Gift City. That's at the entrance of Gift City with the logo, right? It was established in 2015 in Gandhinagar, and it's designed to be an offshore financial center where transactions in non-rupee can take place. It's basically designed around financial services, though now we're seeing a bunch of IT and other companies also come in. It's designed around financial services and it's to create a world-class financial hub like Singapore or Dubai. Right. So the parallel to this would be the DIFC, which is there in Dubai, or AGDM again in Abu Dhabi. Singapore as a country overall is very flexible in terms of their financial services, very well regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore. And it's actually taking into account all those best practices from around the world that, the government has put together this place. It's actually about 886 acres, and there are 600 plus now operational units. What's less known is that the balance sheet of banks operating out of Gift City is already crossed 60 billion, right? And there are, more and more financial institutions setting up there every day, and it's really think of it as BKC version 2.0. If any of you have been to Mumbai, you see a lot of these towers with banks in them. It's kind of similar. So you soon start seeing each of these banks having their own towers, right? Less known fact is that the Mumbai Ahmedabad bullet train is kind of designed around this. You can go from BKC, which is where the bullet train starts, and it goes fairly close to this, and then it's just a couple of metro stations away to get to Gift City. So you could, in theory, live in Bombay, work in Gift City, and come back once the bullet train kind of goes live. All right. Um just moving on. So, like I said, right, it's a financial services hub, right? So there are 23 public sector banks. Now, a lot of the multinational banks have come, Deutsche Bank, BNP Paribas, our own very own homegrown HDFC Bank, ICICI, Axis, Kotak, all your private sector banks are there, right? Both the stock exchanges are there, the NSE as well as the BSE. They have their own subsidiaries over there. Bullion, a lot of gold imports happening in India. That happens out of Gift City. There's a bunch of fintechs, including Zinc. There are 140 plus alternate investment funds, insurance, asset management, technology services, the works, right? What's less known is perhaps that a lot of the new aircraft that are coming for Indigo or Air India or whoever are actually the leasing actually happens through Gift City now. Earlier, this would have happened in London or it may have happened in Singapore, but all of that now happens via Gift City because that was the whole objective is to bring that offshore business. It's essentially business transacted by Indian companies and Indians. Why do we want to give that business to Singapore? Why do we want to give that business to London or New York or anywhere else in the world? Why don't we do it ourselves? And the only thing that was holding us back was that we did not have the regulatory infrastructure in place for that, and we did not have a specified means and area to do that. And that's what Gift City has been designed to solve. Is doing a spectacular job of making that come to reality, right? So, what are the benefits of Gift City? I mean, we talked a lot about what it is. For corporates, actually, it's very, very impressive in the sense that you get 100% income tax exemption for 10 consecutive years out of 15 years that you operate. the zero, STT, CTT, zero stamp duty on securities transactions, no GST, everything is streamlined. Sounds like a dream, right? That's the reason why a lot of corporates want to go there. For individuals, yes, there are benefits. It's not tax free. Technically, it's not outside Income Tax Act from a for resident Indian perspective, or even for NRIs, but there are zero TDS on interest on FDs, for example, for NRIs. Right? For resident Indians, you can access the global markets via Gift City. And there's a great deal of trust and security because you're dealing with the same companies that you would otherwise deal in India, or the same banks that you would otherwise deal with in India. And that's what gives you a greater flexibility, greater trust, greater security. Right? Uh, let's again, I mean, I've talked a lot about Gift City, and we'll go question by question on this one, perhaps. Let's just see how much you have listened. So, who's the regulator in Gift City, right? And that becomes a paramount question. We said that we're trying to create a area where the regulations are streamlined and, are at par with the best jurisdictions in the world. So, who do you think regulates the banks and NBFCs? Is it A, the RBI, B, IFSCA, could be Google, who knows? IIDA, or, well, get the best guys in the world to write the rules, right? Get Goldman to write the rules on banking. Who do you think it is? Okay, I see a lot of IFSCA. The answer is correct. That is IFSCA. All right, question number two now, special economic zone approval through a single window tech platform. So clearly, Windows could be Microsoft, all right? Or I talked a lot about taking inspiration from the government of Singapore. So that's the Singapore government logo, by the way, the second one. Right. The third one is actually the Gandhinagar Municipal Corporation thing, right? Again, IFSCA, and every time you talk of a large scalable tech platform, AWS, maybe it's Amazon, right? Uh, well, so the question, I see a lot of B's. No, for this one is IFSCA. Okay, people are saying it's IFSCA. Yeah, the answer is right. It is IFSCA again. So now let's go to question number three. I think this is becoming fairly obvious. Who regulates insurance? That's actually IFSCA again. Right. The fourth one is interesting. Who do you think regulates vehicle registration? Right. I mean, you want to buy a car or a bike and you want to drive it around Gift City. Who do you think is regulating that? Question number four, people. So you can post your answers in the link.
Is there a particular number that you get? Like Gujarat is GJ, right? So is Gift
Yeah.
City a different? It's a different. Okay.
So we're still seeing people say IFSCA does vehicle registration. Uh, Unfortunately, not. Right. I mean, or fortunately, not. Perhaps they got too much on their hands already. So they don't do vehicle registration. And no, it's not Tesla. We haven't outsourced that yet to Tesla or to Facebook. It's actually GJ18. It's the assistant RTO of Gandhinagar. So any car registered over there is actually a GJ18. And by the way, that cool looking thing is actually the logo of the RTO. So they are also looking fairly advanced these days. Right. And capital markets, again, well, maybe Zerodha, with all the things that they're doing these days. Or could be SEBI, or who is it for question number five?
Everyone's all clued in now.
Everyone's all clued in. Yeah.
It's,
So capital
it's
markets is under IFSCA. So IFSCA is the Unified Financial Services Regulator, right? So it combines RBI, SEBI, IRDA, and, well, there's no pension funds in Gift City, but if there was, PFRDA would also be rolled into the IFSCA. IFSCA is the International Financial Services Centers Authority, right? That was set up by an act of parliament as a separate regulator. And within Gift City, it is the only regulator that exists for financial services. And they actually now have a single window IT system where companies can apply and get clearances. It's actually very, very tech friendly, very streamlined, and very fast. It's one of the most forward-looking regulators in the world, and an absolute pleasure to work with for anyone who's had to deal with them. Okay, with that, let's move on. All right. So coming down to more individuals, right? What's in it for individuals? And we can divide the world into two broad parts: NRIs and resident Indians. Now, Gift City has a lot to offer for NRIs and perhaps more than resident Indians at this point in time, given the way the regulations are. Right. For NRIs, the world is your oyster, and Gift City is no different. You can open savings accounts in, 8 currencies ranging from USD to the Hong Kong dollar. Right. You can have fixed deposits in your favorite banks, all the banks that you would otherwise deal with in India. You can have fixed deposits in dollars or pounds or euros, and the rates are very attractive. In some cases, they're actually even higher than the FCNR rates that you would get as an NRI. The tenure flexibility is much higher because typically FCNR comes in very limited tenure. It's like 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year. Here you can literally choose, 31 day, 60 day. You take your pick, like you would do with a deposit with an Indian bank. You'd be able to do it. It is tax exempt. I mean, that's the same as an FCNR, so there's not too much difference there, but it is tax exempt. Uh, you can invest globally from Gift City. There are a bunch of 140 odd alternate investment funds which actually invest in India, right? Via Gift City. So as an NRI, you invest in them in dollars, and they worry about the exchange conversion and dealing with Indian compliance. So this is actually a convenient way of doing that. Foreign currency bonds, mutual funds, which were at the time of making this presentation was to be launched soon. I think Neil just put up an article yesterday, literally, which says I think the first one was being done by DSP. So that's an indicator of how quickly things are moving, right? We think about it 1 week, and by next week, the regulators actually kind of approved that. For resident Indians, yes, you can do global savings accounts, right? As a resident Indian, you can actually open a USD savings account in Gift City. uh, the usage of that account is slightly constrained by current regulations, right? And creating a dollar FD for you as a resident Indian is actually very, very hard. I mean, it's practically you cannot keep it for more than 180 days, and therefore most banks don't actually offer that. So, which is why we've kind of left it out. What's really interesting, and which is where Zinc kind of also comes in, is your ability to access capital markets around the world using Gift City as your gateway to that, right? So there are several brokers, broker dealers, including IND Money. There is Appreciate Wealth, and there is Zinc, right, and many more coming on the way. All of us offer resident Indians the chance to access global markets via Gift City because that's what Gift City has been designed for, right? Again, there are AIFs, there are outbound AIFs as well. So if you're a HNI, UHNI, and you want to invest overseas and you actually want a structured product, then those exist. Insurance exists. Some of the familiar insurance companies that we have in India also exist in Gift City. So you can actually get a dollar insurance policy if you were to choose. So HDFC Life, iProve, both exist. There are foreign currency bonds also, which are listed on NSE. That's an interesting option because you can't do fixed deposits, but you can do bonds under LRS, right? USD education loans. This is a up and coming thing. For a lot of students studying abroad, whether that's the US or other countries around the world, you can now get an education loan in dollars out of Gift City. There's Avance and there's Zinc as well, right? And again, many more to come. Mutual funds, again, as I mentioned, just launched, actually launched a little while back. Neil covered it yesterday. So DSP has launched, and we expect many more to follow, which actually allow you as a resident Indian to get exposure to global markets, right? I'll just double click on, the Gift City for resident Indians, given that most of the people on this call are actually resident Indians. Uh, right. So one a big advantage of Gift City, like I said, is that you can access global markets. And the one of the best instruments to do that is actually something called USITS ETFs. UCITS is actually undertakings for collective investment in transferable securities. I know that sounds like a mouthful of words. It's basically a mutual fund listed on the London Stock Exchange. These are typically domiciled in Luxembourg or in Ireland. Uh, and you can get exposure to pretty much any global asset class you want to, whether it's American equities or global equities or, European defense, China, Asia X Japan, MSCI World, whatever the flavor that you want, there is an ETF designed for that. Right, these are very, very efficient because India has double tax avoidance agreements with most of these countries, and you pay capital gains only in India. And this thing, importantly, is not subject to American estate tax, which is why it's a preferred option for any non-resident, non-American, which is pretty much most of us, to be able to access global markets. The reason is there's a thing called the US estate tax, which kicks in at any asset that you have above USD 60,000 in the US, if you're a non-American, non-resident, then the US government can take up to 40% of that away if you were to unfortunately pass away, and only the balance will be given to your family. So that's a huge, huge tax, and there's no offset of that in India, which is why if you're thinking of global equities, then you should be doing the usage route and not directly investing in American ETFs or in American stocks. Finally, just to touch upon foreign currency bonds, again, it's surprising that it's actually very large. Again, most heavily this has been corporate, right? The 22 issuers, about 81 issuances, 33 billion has been raised. These are listed on the NSEIX, right? The coupon rates, these are in dollar terms, by the way, 4 to 7 or rates. There are ESG bonds, which go from 4.6 to 7.6. Zinc, ourselves, we have a finance company or an NBFC license in Gift City. We are coming up with our first for foreign currency bond. It will be the first of its kind issuance in Gift City. We're looking to raise up to 15 million, and you might even get rates up to 10% for longer tenures. Very, very attractive. If you're an NRI, certainly very attractive because it's nearly 2x of what you would get, or more than 2x of what you would get with a bank. For a resident Indian, also you could apply for this via LRS. Of course, that route is a little more involves a lot more paperwork, I would say, for routing it through LRS, but this is certainly possible. Right. With that, let me pause here. The idea of this session is to make it as interactive as possible, and we'll take questions from the audience and go one by one, and we'll try and answer as many questions as possible. Okay, the first question is, what's the benefit over Singapore? The answer is it's actually relative. It depends on whether you're a resident Indian or a non-resident, or you're a company. It's a very case-specific answer. The biggest advantage over Singapore is that you're actually dealing with Indian institutions, right? So if you're dealing with an ICICI in India, you can deal with an ICICI in Gift City. Uh, while ICICI does have a presence in Singapore, it's not as seamless as dealing with the Gift City guys, because the way Indian banks are structured in Gift Cities, they're actually branches of the parent bank itself. They're not actually independent units like Singapore or UK in the case of ICICI. Right. So you pretty much your favorite Indian bank is there in Gift City, right? So that's what makes it easier. Or if you're an NRI as well, you deal with your familiar HDFC Bank or State Bank, but in Gift City, you don't have to worry about onshoring that money to India and doing all sorts of other things. Gift City is technically offshore, so your money remains in dollars, right? That's the important thing. The Indian rupee is not a legal currency in Gift City, by the way, for transactions. All right, you can use one of the 8 currencies that we spoke about, but everything else is in dollars, pounds, uh, dirhams, and whatnot. Yeah, I'll go to the next question. Does LRS apply on this model? Yes. If you're a resident Indian, you can sending money to Gift City is indeed LRS. The same LRS limit applies, which is $250,000 per financial year per individual. And The rules changed actually in July of 2024, where RBI notified this, saying that you can LRS money to Gift City and use it onwards for any purpose which would be valid for LRS. So, therefore, investing in foreign stocks and ETFs via Gift City is now 100% legal.